Ourselves into Champion Select for our final game of the night. Samsung looking to try and grab a victory on the red side. Much the same as what KT were able to do in our earlier series. Dominant victories on blue side for games 1 and 2, and then somehow red side figures out how to ban Syndra as far as this series is concerned. So Galio and Zach still banned on the blue side for Tigers. It's odd. Blitzcrank once again going to be removed. Samsung remembering game 1.
That's one of the adaptation bans that have had to come through. Wonder if Kled will be banned on the blue side. Possibility against QV. The jungle pool so far is only bereft of Zach. Orianna will be banned against Crown. That's an interesting one. Now, Mickey doesn't play Orianna, apart from the one game we saw from him 2 days ago, his first career match on Orianna.
And in fact, that's the first time that Orianna's even been looked at this entire series. Feels almost like a throwaway, as Elise is going to be the final ban. Lee Sin, the member of the Trinity, still available. And Songwon had an admirable performance, especially early on the champion.
I was going to say, this may actually prompt the first pick Talia, because with Orianna off the board, Syndra as well, you're thinking of the champion pool for Crown, and it has largely been Orianna, Ryze, Syndra, and Talia.
Yeah. Of course, if you want those control mages, I mean, I feel like that's the Trinity in the mid lane.
So it seems more about reaching for a good pick for the ROX Tigers and not leaving Crown with any sort of comfort. Interesting to see where he goes from here. Could be something like the LeBlanc that's been overlooked in a lot of our games so far on patch 7.10.
I just want something like the Kassadin or a Zed to come out. I want Crown to really reach into the back pocket, find something new. But we know that he's a mastery player, Papa Smithy.
I mean,
not what he does.
The only champion along those lines he's ever had mastery on was Yasuo, which I feel like I don't know if we're going to see that one. Kassadin is a really good matchup against the Talia post 6, so it's a possibility with the latest buffs pushing him higher and higher.
Maybe he does make Yasuo. I mean, Doran Shields helped him. There are possibilities.
Infinity Edge is cheaper. Zeal is cheaper.
Oh!
Guardian Angel's way better on him than it was before.
There are so many reasons to do it.
Maybe there's just enough reasons for a revisit to the Xayah. That was certainly not the problem in the previous series. By the way, we researched the interaction between Xayah and the Syndra, and it does indeed pop the damage. So effectively think of it as the playful trickster when it comes to dodging damage.
It's a sanguine pull that also throws out a bunch of feathers, and you don't have to be Vladimir.
Situationally, a really good thing.
Yes, exactly right. Unless you're
Someone will be jumping onto the Graves.
Interesting.
So we had Elise, Zach banned. Lee Sin not a priority pick for, it feels like either of these junglers, since if I'm not mistaken, they've both lost with them this series. The red side Lee Sins have not been working, and will Crown just say, screw it, Victor? Not yet.
Ambition looking to say, nope, get me the jungler that has worked out for me thus far. It is going to be the Gragas once again.
I wonder if they will ban Victor because of the little flash of Victor.
Ooh, maybe it's a mind game from Samsung as well, and then Crown's going to pick Yasuo.
I think every time let's say, the last 10 seconds, someone flashes a champion, it's usually a mind game.
Yep.
Speaking of mind games, AD carry, jungle, and mid lane has been selected, so once again focusing on Linderong's top lane champion pool is probably smart. No need to ban the Rumble, which was decent, but very clearly not a top-tier Rumble. So Jarvan, the champion he won with in Game 1, is a smart ban.
Probably still looking to thin out that mid lane on the side of the Tigers, though, and we'll see whether the mind games are going to pay off with that Victor hover. No, they're going to aim for the top side, so QV getting a little bit of attention with the cannon being banned.
Yeah, the top lane champion pool is going to be fun to evaluate, as both teams opting into banning top laners. Usually means we're ending up with tanks, but do the Tigers ban the Kled that QV's been playing basically every game?
Yeah, and I feel like you almost have to here, because otherwise what's the point of banning any other top laners when that seems to be his go-to pick now anyway, and that is going to be the ban, so I like it.
Renekton's really powerful in this spot when it comes to pushing top laners, unless you want to go ranged, and the Jace, which I imagine will be overlooked by ROX Tigers this time, because they've had very little happiness with the Jace pick.
Crown looking to go for very, very safe as he locks away the Karma.
It's something that he's played before, so just looking to match wave clear with the Tilly is definitely...
Still a flex pick, as Zyra can be played in the mid lane, Popsmith.
Don't you start. I know about your love of the Zyra mid lane, but that's not happening.
Damn it. He loves Leandra's Torment, Papa Smithy, and Zyra builds Leandra's Torment very, very well.
You can say a lot of factual statements that don't actually impact the fact that it will be a Leandra's Torment, probably from the Zyra, just from support.
Oh, the Rakan!
Is left available, was banned in our earlier series, this time doesn't get the respect ban. Okay.
This is exciting. The Tigers looking to capitalize on their blue side, play a few mind games of their own. They grabbed themselves that Rakan. The top lane was so much the focus when we looked at that second round of bans.
Galio would have been ideal here, but was first ban. So what identity will they have with the Jace? Maybe Linderung will indeed be going back to it.
Oof, and this is going to be a tankless composition as well. There's going to be a lot actually riding on how Keed plays out this Rakan.
And I actually like what Ambition's doing. He's returning to the Kha'Zix, one of his previous favorites, because guess what? When it's a tankless composition, Kha'Zix goes up in value looking for picks on these low health members. And I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of what the ROX Tigers have put together. I actually really like Rakan when he has follow-up dive, like for example the Galio, who has great synergy with the Rakan or a Jarvan or something along those lines, but instead it feels like whenever Rakan is going to be using the quickness, it's going to be defensive or as a defensive tool to allow the rest of his team to get away. They're not really a team comp that engages because they don't really have engaged tools, so it feels like ROX Tigers have a kind of scattered identity, so the best you can kind of hope for is win lane, win game, and Zion Rakan, I feel, are much stronger out of lane than they are in lane.
Yeah, and we'll see what Linderung can do now on Jace, which has been his Achilles heel thus far. Of course, yes, once again, Papa Smithy sample size very, very low, but this is the exciting matchup. Ambition back on the Kha'Zix. I remember watching him and taking notes when he was playing it in the mid lane, Papa Smithy. But that is a time gone by, and has since been able to pick that one up in the jungle relatively easily. The Talia, we'll see how well she does against the Karma of Crown.
Second Xayah and Rakan duo that we've had in LCK. First one was, of course, from Jin Air Green Wings.
Against the ROX Tigers.
So we've seen this duo played in all three regions in the space of 24 hours. Its success rate has been high. We'll see if it can get it done for the ROX Tigers.
Yeah, see whether it can continue. Xayah has taken a bit of a hit from the last game. We'll see whether she can continue forward in game number 3 for the ROX Tigers, or whether it's Samsung Galaxy who are going to confirm the 2-1. Samsung fans, pretty loud. That second round of cheers. It's getting late, Papa Smithy. It's about 10:30 here in Korea.
5.5 hours into our LCK night. Probably going to get around to the 6.5 hour number, if I don't say so myself. Cool, JJ. Chilling in the brush, but certainly respecting people walking in and thinks better of going any further.
Ooh, everyone actually just going to wait here as Core JJ.
I mean,
get baited.
He gets a lot of information from being where he is. This does allow there to be some pretty significant invades for Vision on the side of the rest of Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, Songwon is going to spot Ambition. Ping's going out wildly as Cuve's hanging around with him there as well. Adorable Kha'Zix skin, one of my personal favorites.
Is it Death Blossom? Something Blossom.
Something Blossom. I feel like it could possibly be.
But then, of course, there's other games with Death Blossoms.
There's certain Death Blossoms that exist elsewhere, and it's confusing us. I understand that one. Oh, Mickey just... Did he just do a sick move? That looked like he did a kickflip. That's awesome.
I think you're seeing kickflips where they don't exist, Atlas.
Well, it's better than seeing other things. Like friendship between my co-caster.
That's certainly not there.
Yeah, don't worry, I don't see that. That's fine. I ain't that deluded. Well, it's not that late.
We came up with lots of cool counter picks for Crown, and then he decided to play Karma.
Yep. But he has played the Sun Goddess skin, my personal favorite. Pretty hipster.
I can confirm that Rakan level 1 is Not great unless you take Deadly Plumage on the Xayah, like we saw in EU LCS from the Roccat duo in the bot lane, but instead he's taken Q level 1 here, has Sangyun, which means that they get schooled.
Yep. The level 2 power spike may not necessarily be as worth it. Throws out double feathers, but you know that passive ain't able to be utilized when you can't approach a minion wave.
Nope. Do not have control over the minion wave, and early level 2. Back foot here for ROX, and you'll notice that in Korea, when we do see the Rakan, they have been exclusively going for the Ancient Coin style.
Yeah, it's cute.
The theory here is that the laning phase is not great, but the skills, specifically W and E, are so powerful on the Rakan, you know, Q is a 1-point wonder at best, that getting access to an extra skill point gets you closer and closer to 5 points in W and E and really gets the full teamfight impact of the Rakan. So even though in EU it was the Spell Thief's Edge, the Ancient Coin has been the popular choice in Korea.
Yeah, Ancient Coin line also offers a little bit more defensive statistics now as well, given the armor that was added to it. So I can understand that, given the fact that you are well and truly jumping in amongst everything as the Rakan, even if you're not necessarily supposed to stay there.
To what avail, though, in this comp is kind of what I'm trying to work out.
Yeah.
So you can see quickness into Seismic Shove into Burst, but there's definitely no AoE follow-up abilities from ROX when it comes to going in aggressively.
I think there is a lot on Mickey's shoulders to try and make this composition work, because the Weaver's Wall, to cause the disruption and make sure Samsung are not able to group up as this 5-man squad that can get a lot of work done with their layering of AoE, CC, and massive damage.
They can take turrets very quickly. But the line, it's just, again, where the Rakan fits is where I fell out of love with the comp from the ROX Tigers.
You're all out of love?
Don't start. It's too late at night.
Damn it. I really wanted to follow up there. Is key. Okay. Ambition not falling for it again. Actually, no, that was the score earlier on in the night.
Yep.
It's been a long one. Pop Smoothie?
It certainly has.
Things are melding into each other. However, that is a dangerous brush. Another kickflip. There it was. See? Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was cool. I didn't see a kickflip where it wasn't there. It was definitely an actual kickflip.
No phantom kickflips.
Yeah, I know. Dangerous. Mickey throws out the threaded volley. Crown eats the brunt of it, but saves his jungler. It's a mantra. Oh, really nice grasping roots from Core JJ. We forgot to talk about this. I mean, this is Core JJ back on his pick in the Zyra.
It's been denied from him both games previous to this, so he's happy to find it.
Oh, and there's the grand entrance. Okay, going to take a lot of damage. Exhaust being forced out onto Core JJ of all people. The Ignite going to tick down, but not do enough damage. Key does have to go home.
Yeah, one auto attack short, you'd imagine, of picking up the kill. He looked aggressive, but in the end traded 3 summoners for 1 on the side of Samsung Galaxy. So laning phase for Xayah and Rakan, which is always a bit tricky. Now gets even more tricky.
Yep. Mickey actually heading down here. Speaking of things that rhyme with tricky. He's gonna head back. Yeah. Pull a sickie.
Well, then I have to solo cast.
Linderung is in the game.
It's true.
Oh, I think it's too soon. Okay, Crown.
Ooh, he's going more aggressive on his Karma mid. Morellonomicon over the current favorite, which has been the Athene's Unholy Grail into Ardent Sensor build.
I like it a lot, actually. I'm sick of seeing all of these Athene's Unholy Grails coming out in the mid lane, making it quite boring. Karma can do a lot of damage if you can build enough on her. Core JJ going to find a lot of damage onto someone. My god, Zara. She just does a lot of damage.
1 level under, just a evolved support item.
Aw, look at them sharing the honey fruits.
Zara got one of the biggest indirect buffs from items. Now, the nerf was, of course, Doran's Shield, making her laning phase weaker, but the extra movement speed from the Frostfang quest item is really big for her, because previously you just kind of used 1 round of abilities and always died instantly because you are slow and frail.
Yeah, and you could also never ward anything ever.
You still really can't, to be fair.
Well, yeah, but you have a little bit more of an opportunity to.
I mean, you often get 2 rounds of spells off in fights, with which as much AP as she builds is very relevant.
Oh, yeah. Especially given a backline threat with the fact that everything is a skill shot. You can just place it down wherever you want. Stranglethorn's so important and does a lot of damage if you can actually build some items.
But weaker in lanes, better in fights. That's probably fine from Riot's perspective, given that she used to be, and probably to some degree still is, one of the strongest lane bullies in the game.
Yeah. She also used to be completely repugnant to deal with. That was a hot fix that happened within 2 days, if I remember correctly. Ruler still going aggressive here onto Sungyun. That volley does a lot of damage. Crown going to be inspired to get out of the way of the seismic shove.
Otherwise, the early game has not been fraught with action. Double control ward on the side of Samsung in the midst of the Drake, which is an Infernal spawn, so you can see why there's even extra incentive on keeping tabs around that area.
Yeah, but as it all shakes out, nothing really gained or lost from either team so far.
Turret HP is being lost, that's for sure, on the side of ROX. With no jungle intervention, have it at about a third, maybe slightly more.
Both these junglers actually pretty keen just to farm it out. Ambition.
He's got those double control wards, so he'll take a Drake if he can get it.
Yeah. Oh, there's the arrow. Featherstorm goes down. Key gets the battle dance back to Sungyun. Not going to find too much of a knock-up onto Ruler, though. No summoner spells. Samsung Galaxy, I mean, that was a lot of buttons being put down by ROX, but honestly, nothing happened.
We're down to 1,000, but here's the contest.
Yeah, Crown. Find a fair bit of damage. Ambition does lock down the dragon, and Mickey, he's in trouble. Ambition does pick up that kill, but Songwon is going to be able to answer Key. Extraordinarily low on the bottom side of the screen. Now Crown finally gets towards him. Sungyun. Oh, that's too cute. Adorable. Okay.
Does mean both of them leave the bot lane, though, and given they've done so much work on this turret earlier, Infernal Drake into first brick is a possibility. Someone decides that he doesn't want it to happen, but I don't think he's got enough to really answer it fully, so big early initial salvo by Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, nicely done. Get themselves about a 2,000 gold lead at 9 minutes, and that is actually relatively relevant.
It's late, Atlas. What I will commend Samsung on at this late hour is that we talked about League being a multi-step process, and their match against SKT, where they were really smart in specifically their Baron control, where they baited out all the different wards and the blue trinkets, and then took Baron, got a pick in the enemy red side jungle. Look at what they did here. They had the double control ward around that Infernal Drake for a long time, both to allow safety, but also because the Karma could opt into it. The Karma had wave pushing, and Ambition on the Kha'Zix is one of the few junglers that even pre-jungle item can solo down an Infernal Drake. So they had control around the mid lane, they had pressure, they had already been able to push in Zion Rakan, which is one of their big weaknesses in the early laning phase, and the timing around which they pulled the trigger on first the Drake, then also getting first brick is sort of polished play, which is why we ranked Samsung so highly even after their sidestep in Game 1.
Yeah, and compositionally Game 1 was a difficult ask for Samsung Galaxy. Bit of a worry to watch. And ROX played, honestly, exceptionally well, given what we were expecting from them after their initial series against Jin Air Green Wings.
Well, one team comes off beating SKT 2-0, and the other one comes off losing to Jin Air 2-0. You think that would be significant, but
apparently not.
The madness of week 1 of the LCK has proved that it is not the most significant.
The jockeying for position, Papa Smithy. Both of our series tonight have been very surprising. Ambition and Crown just going to be clearing out vision.
There's a lot of rays.
Yeah, there's a lot of plants. And the arrow is going to land nicely. Songwan gets the heal out of Songyu to help him out. Poor JJ finds a Q, but doesn't find anything else. Didn't have the grasping roots available. And Ambition, that's one hungry-looking bug. Doesn't want to dive a turret.
Cuvier's around mid lane. Probably won't dive either, but happy to leave Jace just doing his thing in the bot lane.
Ooh. Wants the skater. Seismic shove. Not going to find him.
Meanwhile,
Poor JJ is going to get taken. Songyun gets the kill credit up towards the top side of the map and actually gives Tigers a kill lead in this game, despite not quite having the same level of money.
You don't know which of the ultimates was used as a pick tool, but double flash and double ult down between the bot lane, lets you kind of fill in the banks. I'm sure we'll get a replay to confirm what happened there, but first pick there onto Core JJ. A lot of damage onto this outer top lane turret as well, but meanwhile...
Yeah, Ambition and Cube say that they're going to have a best friends club on the bottom side of the map. One of my favorite old moments of Ambition is by that inner turret. Good highlight. Find it. Mid lane Kha'Zix. But Teleport going to come in. Cube going to pay a visit towards the top side of the map. Song1, aggressive. Brown's just going to easily take down Mickey. Song1 just looks like he's bereft of any knowledge of what's going on. It's okay. Bit of a split recall. It's an odd one.
Yeah, Samsung actually gave up taking the inner turret in bot lane to stop the Rift Herald from going down. Clearly their Rift Herald priority, given the amount of times they've taken it, and also what they invest into answering it, is super high, which is atypical for teams so far in LCK Summer.
I actually quite like it here from Samsung Galaxy, just because they have been the ones to utilize it effectively.
Any team, most impressed with them. Again, still baby steps, still early days. I think a lot of teams will use the couple of days off to review tape and work out just how high the priority should be on Rift Herald.
Yep.
My first instinct reading about it and thinking about the best case scenario was that it should be pretty high, but you don't always get the best case scenario, so kind of hard to read. Rift Herald's used already.
There he goes, heading towards the top side.
Now you see it. Now you don't.
Oh god, that's just too much damage.
But now the race is on, and Zion Rakan will start running over there, but Samsung are pretty low on mana, so perhaps will abandon the Rift Herald. He'll still get a charge onto the second turret.
Yeah, that's that big chunk that you're looking for. Okay.
That's it because it's current health rather than max health when it comes to the amount of damage it does. 150, I believe, plus 20% of current health. So the first hit's always going to be the biggest.
Well, that's going to be one turret and charge onto the next one, so I'd probably say successful, Papa Smithy.
Yep, definitely. Given that we've seen Rift Heralds get, what, 30% of one turret?
Yep, that's true. Seen them be pretty abysmal. The first series was a decent example of that. Keegan to get that Fae Feathers back up again.
Well, we see a Nunu meta to consume Smite, a Rift Herald, so even though the first attack will always register, it'll only do like 200 damage.
Yeah, you know that I want that, Papa Smithy. I mean, I almost got baited into a Nunu pick when there was an Elise on the team.
I also wondered if we see Ivorans to pick up the Rift Herald and put down Daisy to tank it, take the turret, and then have the Rift Herald go for the full zoo.
So many options. Well, oh, good flash from Mickey. Avoids the arrow. Still needs to use the summoner spell. Ruler will take that trade any day of the week. Ambition going aggressive very early. Featherstorm, yeah, very early on in the fight is dangerous. Core JJ playing off to the side, does have the Stranglethorns down already. And look at the AoE. This is disgusting from Samsung. Sanyun just couldn't get any damage, and that's 4 for 1 in favor of Samsung Galaxy. Dominance
but
in the
why?
jungle.
ROX Tigers with no team fight. Remember, they are a very squishy comp. Are they opting into, at best, a 4v5, given that Jace couldn't actually respond? That's the big question we have to ask Atlas. We saw the draft. We said, okay, so the draft where a last pick Kha'Zix can definitely prosper. They did not draft to look for team fights, and yet opted into one.
And it was also an oddly sided team fight as well, with Linderung well and truly on the bottom side with no teleport available. It's just interesting bait situation where maybe they just thought they'd be able to take down Ambition before anything could happen.
Yeah, they had some wards down, so they had some advanced information, but probably just surprised by Ambition starting off with a very aggressive dive. And usually when you're playing Karma, you've gone Ardent Censer and Athene's Unholy Grail, and thus you are basically a slave to AD carry. This Karma has gone the standard build, I guess you would say,
the standard crown
on
build,
every champion, which is usually CDR into a Leandri's. So this is Crown saying, well, usually I fire out my Mantra Q and it gets eaten by a tank. You don't have a tank, therefore I'm going to kill everyone.
Yeah. And you saw the gigantic burst of AoE damage. It was actually the Karma. And I was just wondering where the hell that came from, because I'm just not used to seeing it from these Karmas that decide they want to build a cup and call it a day.
Flank Karma.
Yeah,
Flamma,
I like it.
you could say.
Flamma. shawarma?
No, that's food.
Ah, God. Maybe I'm giving away my hungriness, Pop Smithy. Unfortunate, but that Leandri's is very, very close. Crown just needs to go back and probably pick that one up.
I like how we call Crown a bit of a mad genius, but it's actually just Leandri's and CDR and everything.
Yeah, he has one item set for mid lane, and it's that.
He only ever plays with 30 Magic Pen or more.
Yeah.
He builds Sorcerer's Shoes and Haunting Kai's on basically every champion.
Well, it's good for the early game, especially against champions that don't have any magic resist, and Mickey fits that category to a T.
Linderong's like, I'm going to get Merc Treads. That'll help me a little bit.
Prob's a good idea, mate. Sorry, I'm drifting back. Probably a good idea.
You're a bit blokey today.
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe
I know League of Origin was on in Korea. Sorry, in Australia.
Yes, it was. Haven't actually seen how it went yet, but hoping Victoria did well.
My team doesn't exist.
Rip.
I know. No Western Australian team. Feels bad.
You can be an honorary Victorian.
No Graves.
Oh,
feels bad.
Song one. Yeah, does feel bad. Oh, no. Collateral damage gets him out of there. His ambition. He makes his way through Mickey. He's not done yet. Throws a cheeky exhaust onto Core JJ.
Ignite even.
Sorry, Ignite. Literally no reason. Core JJ, good flash. Linderong has been baited and Ruler gets the kill.
For some reason, ROX Jaces play with a debuff under enemy turrets. That's what we've learned. And Crown's gone for the flank teleport. Remember, he's a DPS threat.
Well, Keed is going to be able to at least charm him up for the moment. The exhaust comes in, and he just gets his way over to Songyun with a extended battle dance. Okay, Songyun not ready to go home just yet. Wanted them to have a little dance moment once again, but not going to happen. Let's clear out this minion wave first. Samsung well and truly in control, though. 6,000 gold is the lead for them. Infernal Drake coming up, and that's going to mean Infernal Mountain Infernal. Our first triple good Drake day, or game of the day.
Gotta say, I'm not a fan of Songyun just sticking with what is going to essentially be the Essence Reaver into Seal item every game. I think this is a Blade of the Ruin King game, just to have a one-item power spike, and because late game you don't have a front line, so you're probably just going to be, you're not going to be sitting in the back line doing free damage at any point, realistically. So I think going Blade of the Ruin King would have given them more options. Also stronger for laning, because you'd have some lifesteal, and they were already not doing the best in trades against the Ashe Zyra.
It's also a really low damage build to start things off as well, going for the hammer as well as the crit cloak.
That's the attraction of one-item power. So that's why Blade of the Ruin King was so prominent when the Blade was buffed, because you were online at one item rather than, I guess, 3, which is where you feel the best at with this particular build line.
Cloak of Agility just feels really bad in your bags as well. This flat crit without an Infinity Edge, without any real AD being picked up.
I just don't think you have the luxury of going into a stacking build when you miss out on your early power spikes and then you kind of have some cool items but can't really get much value out of them.
Yeah. It's like, sort of need to have items, yes, but oh, Cube gonna get knocked back.
He's like, I don't want to use my E. Oh, okay, whatever.
I thought he was just gonna hide in the brush until that comes back up again. I believe they were just checking the Baron though. No vision available here for the Tigers, and they didn't have their scrying orb up anymore.
I'm a fan of how brushes are equal opportunity. Whether it's Gragas or a 10-stack Cho'Gath, you still can hide in that brush.
Oh, Gargoyles don't play Cho'Gath. The Dream Ingo's key,
big
though.
engage.
Big engage. But not quite sure they can get enough from this. Cube tanking up most of the damage as the arrow is going to connect right on top of Mickey, and he'll be the first one to fall down. Linderong tries to beat them out, but it's not going to happen. Key, he's going to fall off to the back end, and Ambition gets the slow, gets the leap, and it's all too easy. Linderong falls down. That is 3 for nothing, and Samsung could just look for the Baron.
But why flash engage when the follow-up is never going to be there? This comp is not about big flash engages, and Crown does a lot of damage. It's going to be confirmed here.
Boom. That is going to be it. Crown picks it up, and it's all too easy with that particular combo.
When you hit the picture-perfect engage and no one dies, and not that many people get low, that's, you know, that your comp just wasn't selected for that. So ROX Tigers finger a wave of the finger negatively towards you for...
No.
Yeah.
I got it.
I mean,
that was without his Leandri's built up as well. He wasn't at full power Crown.
I mean, you see the replay here. It's smooth stuff from Key. We've seen these sort of engages just today, as we said. Every region playing Zion Rakan in one day. All the other ones were successful, but no one was even really more than tickled, except Cuvée is the perfect person to just be eating damage. And from there, you have the speed of the Mantra Shields to acquire targets. Everyone runs away in different directions, and Ambition's the one to prosper, really, in all of that.
Yeah, has himself his Black Cleaver now built up, looking for his Hex Drinker as well, as the Baron indeed did fall in favor of Samsung Galaxy relatively easily. It's going to spell close to a 10,000 gold lead that's only going to extend as we look to utilize the purple buff rotating around Samsung.
They have strong pushing in every lane as well, so while there's answering wave clear on the side of ROX Tigers, I hazard a guess it won't be enough because the dive option is there from Samsung.
Okay, grasping roots, but quick draw is going to get someone out. Cuvée, surprise belly boot. Do you do damage? No, not really. With his shock blasts, with the particular build that he's gone for, more of that continued split push dueling build.
Yeah, that build's all about, you know, weakening a tank and taking turrets, nothing more than that. No true burst to it. For your far cry from Mickey's rush on the Ghost Blade.
Oh my, that damage is disgusting. Arrow's going to find the graves, but in goes Key once again. Can he get anything else done? They've split up the fight, but Mickey, one more time, is just going to feed his life to the enemy team.
And there was only 4 of the enemy team. It's worth noting, as Cuvée wasn't even bothered to teleport, and yep, that's a dead Key.
Yep. You see, that's what I'm used to seeing from mid lane Zyras.
It's a new world these days,
JJ with, the double magic pen. Pretty good. Feather Storm comes in, but it's more of a feather, what do you call, not a storm. It's just really not doing much damage to Cuvée, who's soaking so much, and that's going to be Inhibitor falling down while he wanders
away.
They're
lose their base.
Exactly right. They're continuing to push forward. This is Nexus turret will fall. The second one could be a possibility. Cuvée just going to teleport his way back through. They're going to grab their second inhibitor, easy as you like, on the side of Samsung Galaxy. And Cuvée looks bored. He just doesn't know what to do. Where can I put on pressure? Doesn't quite know.
Well, he's kind of a luxury. Atlas is what we've learned from this particular series, as Crown has done the heavy lifting, redefining what Karma can be. You see no one that's going to have more than 2,000 health, you put a death cap, a Liandry's Torment, and you start killing people.
Did he go back and finish his Liandry's and build a straight-up death cap?
No, he had Liandry's his last buy was Liandry's Needle Slash Rod and a Blasting one. So
okay.
He was seeing a lot of gold, and now how about some more ability power?
Yeah, they'll grab that. All too easy. That'll be second Infernal Drake in a mountain.
Here's a question. Do you think if he Mantra Qs, he just kills Key?
Straight up with the first tick?
No, with both ticks.
Oh, yeah. I think definitely. Key's got what?
Merc Treads.
Merc Treads, yeah. That's it.
He's got a Sightstone.
Yeah.
That's health.
Talisman of Ascension gives him some armor, so if Crown auto-attacks him, that's going to be mitigated. Don't worry about the Papa Smithy. Not going to be happily building your mantra cooldown.
Here we go.
Don't walk on that. That is a Pyroclasm. Oh, damn it, that's an ability name.
Yes, it is.
That's not...
No brand in this game.
Yeah,
that was 2 days ago.
An actual Pyroclasm.
We're just kind of waiting for someone to Rambo Flash and kill members of ROX to end the game.
Yep, Arrow. Oh, picks the gap. No, lands onto Song 1. So rule it still. Oh, what? Okay. See you later, Mickey taking a lot of damage once again. The cask is going to be what seals the deal. As Cuvée says, well, I want to tank the turret. I want to do anything here because I just want to have fun and finish off this game. Oh, God, Crown. That damage is repugnant, but it's Core JJ that does the finishing blow. That's the Nexus falling, and Samsung, after a rough game 1, turn it all around the next 2 and bring themselves to a 2-0 in LCK Summer so far.
And while we're not ready to crown them as the best team in Korea just yet,
no pun
the
intended.
First instinct is they are probably the strongest. We're still unsure about Longzhu, even with their impressive win over KT Rolster. A lot of the variables for Samsung are small. It's the same lineup, they have the same strengths. Whatever talk there was about them not being able to lift the cup is a story for a couple of months' time. When it comes to the immediate form, they have a good grasp of the meta, the best understanding of the Rift Herald for certain. And the ROX Tigers, famous victory in Game 1, but an honorable loss overall. Better performance than against Jin Air Green Wings, but that's about all you can say for ROX.
Yeah, still improvements for ROX, you have to say, but Samsung, it was going to be a tall ask for them to even pick up one map, so they should be proud of themselves for even doing that as the ROX Tigers, because honestly, Samsung have looked like they're on a tear. And that happened, it just continued in game number 3. It just felt like clockwork. They did one thing, it was followed by the next that just fit perfectly with their game plan moving forward. And it just never really seemed like ROX had an opportunity to make their way in to that particular game at all. It was just well-constructed League of Legends strategically from Samsung, like we saw against SKT.
And we sat there and were like, Karma, come on, Crown, show us something new. Well, he dissected that there were no tanks and no frontliners, not even pseudo-frontliners on the enemy team. Built as much damage as you could ever ask for on a Karma when his trusty double magic penetration build, and he killed some fools.
Yep, that is Nuke Karma, I believe. It's like nuclear launch detected. Whenever he presses that mantra button, can come up very, very quickly as well if he can throw some cheeky auto attacks, which Crown is definitely known to do.
Linderong on your screen had a much better series, so compliments to him after, of course, struggling
very true.
so hard against Jin Air. But Samsung Galaxy, mostly business as usual. A lot of the VOD review, I think, will be attending to Game 1 that, again, was kind of eerily similar to Game 1 of the day for KT Rolston. Not a perfect game, but a very flawless game from the ROX Tigers, and Samsung making 2 key errors that were avoidable.
Yeah, it was definitely one-sided, but I do like the fact that you bring that one up. I mean, just to recap completely, it was sort of the come-from-behind victories for both of the teams that we saw win today. Yeah, reverse sweep, best of 3s. We're going to have a look at the damage, though, and that is what we're talking about. He just definitely did some damage to the old Crown, but Core JJ, he was not shy behind anyone. This is ridiculous.
And Ambition was just looking for resets, you'd have to say.
Yep.
He was a herbivore, Kha'Zix.
But he did manage to take that first dragon and move towards the first couple of picks that really got the snowball going. And Crown, back-to-back MVPs.
He's got the snowball going himself,
Atlas.
Atlas. He's 300 points, the only person in the league to pick up 3 out of the 4 possible MVPs in Week 1.
Yeah, impressive stuff.
Smeb got the double regular season MVP in 2016, and Crown's making an attempt at doing it in 2017.
And with the best skin as well. It's highly irrelevant, I have to admit. Crown just...
But this is the sort of fight where you're like, all right, yep, I'm sure the Karma's there next to Ruler.
Wait for the
where
Q.
is the Karma? And the Karma hadn't entered because Karma was flanking. This was a flank Karma, a Flammer, you might say.
Yeah, the Flammer.
As he came in, he was like, you're dead.
Oh my god, man.
Again, you don't get to see this Karma because usually there's a tank who just laughs at the damage and absorbs it for their team, but there was no such people. And then ROX just drafted Xayah Rakan because of the synergy, because it makes the lane a little bit better, I guess, but had no plan on how to use the quickness and profit off the engage. And then Karma did have the shields, but was mostly about sniping kills. Went off and got some really big buys around this point in the game.
This was the rough stage.
Yeah, you think so?
The bada boom. Call that the bada boom. With no flash, you're just not going to be able to get out of that.
There was already one harassing queue before this clip started. One a little bit less exciting. I hope we get a replay of Xayah almost dying straight up to one.
This is a Core JJ replay. I like that. Honorable mention.
Here, watch this one.
Oh! Has to ult to avoid the follow-up damage as well. Oh my god. There's the cast to finish him off. Nikki did not have a great Game 3. The Crown certainly did. And I like that he shows us that Karma can be fun, Papa Smithy.
He found an assassin. It was Karma.
Absolutely fantastic. We are going to go for the MVP interview with Crown, and we'll throw it over to Joel for the translation.
Guys, this is Joel with your interview translations once again. Samsung Galaxy, they pick up a 2-1 victory after losing Game 1, and we are here with the mid laner and also the solo MVP of the series, Crown, for the interview. You already have 300 points on the MVP spot. How do you feel about that? Am I first place right now? Yes, you are. Who is second place? Oh, it's Cuz with 200 points. I think this season could be another season. And 2 days ago, we asked him the same question. And, you know, getting the regular season MVP last season, you know, does he think about that again? But we asked him again. But it seems like you have a different mindset this time around. Yeah, I feel like it is coming slowly by slowly. And nobody's really calling you Crown. All the fans out here, they're just calling you King Round. And what do you think about that kind of nickname going towards your way? You know, you're asking about whether I have confidence or not. I'm trying to like force myself to have confidence, but you know, like it just seems like all the games are just clicking for me, and like even if I don't have the confidence, the games just work out, and just, you know, constant mind control is I think what I focus on more. And I think it's a phase where, you know, I'm developing as a player, and it's just a great time in my career. And let's move on to the games themselves. And we saw a Blitzcrank being pulled out in game 1, and probably caught you guys off guard on that one. Oh yeah, Blitzcrank was extremely scary. And I think, you know, in a couple instances where I got grabbed, I died pretty instantly, and it was a very scary force to deal with. But, you know, I feel like, you know, they had the composition where, you know, if the Blitzcrank pulls you, their other teammates can just come out and just burst you down, and it was a very scary competition to fight against. But so I think I was a little bit more pessimistic, you know, with playing against Blitzcrank. Maybe that was the fault, you know, in how that resulted in a loss for us. I think, you know, us being a little bit more passive really just snowballed against us. And it seemed like game 1 was really back and forth. There was a lot of chaotic phases, but what's the feedback regarding Blitzcrank? Anything significant? Yeah, we felt that, you know, with game 1 having to deal with Blitzcrank for the first match, I think it was a good experience for us, so that, you know, we will be better prepared for the next matches. So that we can move on to the second game of the series, and you pulled out the Syndra this time around. Did you want to show Mickey, you know, that your Syndra is much better than what Mickey can show in game 1? Personally, I had that little bit of thing that, you know, I didn't want to lose to Mickey, first of all. And of course, you know, if I picked out, you know, Orion in the first pick and I lost to that, then that would be a little bit of pride issue. But, you know, I didn't think much of it, and, you know, I just picked out the Syndra for the first pick and wanted to show what I can do. And we do have a video highlight of that Syndra play from game 2. He does get grabbed, and you were supposed to die instantly. We never expected a kill back right out of the way. Yeah, you know, I was just kind of worried about, you know, trying to dodge the grab. That was the first instance, and, you know, and I felt like, you know, if I was trying to, you know, juke him out, it didn't work out. But after getting hooked, I saw that Thresh was taking a bit of damage, and because he was moving towards the turret, and he took some turret damage, and I felt like, you know, getting a little bit of ultimate, perhaps a little bit of Q mixed in there, could make it work. We could even out the trade, but so I used the Q, R, and the flash combo all together, and that, you know, that really melted out the Thresh really nicely to get the kill back onto it. And it's surprising to see that you have so many things going in your head, you know, in all of that instance. And that's probably why you earned this MVP for second game. And another question that we want to ask you is that, you know, many people are really considering Syndra to be just an extremely overpowered champion. What do you think about that?
다 리스크가 있는 챔프들이에요.
Yeah, I think Syndra is one of those champions that even with its counter picks, all the counter picks are risky champions in themselves. So, you know, as long as you can take advantage of that and just, you know, use that risk to your advantage, I think, you know, Syndra is a pretty safe pick to go in most cases.
없는 것 같아요.
So I don't think there's a really good counter to Syndra in the end.
그 플레이를 못하면은 카운터가 아니게 돼서.
And of course, you know, with the counter picks that I was talking about, you know, if you don't make the certain plays with those champions, then it's not really a counter to Syndra.
팀들이나 밴을 하거나 열렸을 때 반드시 픽이 되는 신드라그는 굉장히 지금 사랑을 받고 있는 그런 상황입니다. 이어가서 이제 3세트 얘기를 또
And we're gonna move on to the third set.
이제 미드 카르마를
And you picked at the mid Karma this time around. What was the strategy behind that?
이제 상대 미키 선수가 이제 락스 팀이 미드에 있는 좋은 챔피언들을 계속 밴하더라고요.
Yeah, I saw that Mickey and the ROX Tigers in general, they were banning out all the primary mid champions, and I was kind of being shortened down on my champion pool.
다음 픽으로 더 좋은 걸 찾다.
And I was trying to consider, you know, what champions I could pick, you know, throughout the ban pick phase, and you know, I came up with Karma. I thought it was a good choice.
특별히 준비한 픽은 아니었고.
그래서 아이템 트리의 경우도 사실 요즘은 서포팅형 카르마들이 많이 나오잖아요.
네.
And I'm sure that is the items that you went with was also in consideration because many people do go the support route, even playing the mid Karma build. You went the offensive route.
나는 모렐로 트리 갈 거라고 하고.
Yeah, you know, I think my other teammates would have wanted me to go to support, but I wanted to go with the Umbrella Nomcon first.
괜찮은.
And you know, going the offensive route, as long as you play it correctly, is really a good champion to work with.
조합이 좀.
And also, you have to consider that the opposition composition that they had was a very squishy composition. So, you know, getting the offensive build really works in that instance.
더 좋을 것 같아요.
So I thought that was a better choice to go this time around.
아이템 상황에 맞게 가는 것이 중요한 거죠.
그러니까 연결되는 조합 얘기가 그 상대가 약간 자야를 같이 뽑았어요.
맞습니다.
And we do have to talk about the opposition, and when they're considering their composition, they really picked around the Zaya, if we can notice.
매치업에 대해서는 두 명이서 얘기하는데 어떤 교끼리 잘. 그래서 저는 잘 모르겠고요.
Yeah, I think our bot duo was trying to say something about the matchup between Zaya and Rakan, but you know, I'm not really sure what they said. But
박살내면 잘했어.
so you know, if they once they you know destroyed the lane, I said good job. But you know, other than that, I have very little knowledge of what was going on there.
다른 자이라와는 또 다른 면이 있어요. 오늘 또 대단한 활약을 보여줬고 그래서 마지막 3세트에서 바론에서의 또 멋진 한타 장면이 있습니다.
And we do have another video highlight from Game 3 around the Baron Pit.
상대가 제이스가 없긴 했었는데 어쨌든
And this was where Jace wasn't available in that instance.
이미 많이 나는 상황이었어요.
Yeah, at this point of the game, the goal difference was actually pretty huge. So you know, getting a team fight on even turf, it was not a way that we can lose from that. So you know, we really didn't have any doubts that we were going to lose a team fight in that instance.
잘 풀린 것 같아요.
So I think it was a good instance for
어느
us.
정도는 선단 차이가 이미 난 상황이었기 때문에 무난하게 승리를 가져갔다 이런 말씀을 해주신 것 같습니다.
그리고 아무래도 단독 MVP일 때 종종 나오는 좀 진부한
And of course, another question that we ask for solo MVP winners is,
벌써 진부한데요.
나 이외의 MVP를
if there was someone else that who could have won the MVP other than you, who would it be?
일단 3세트 같은 경우에는 바텀 2명 중 1명.
Yeah, just considering Game 3, I think I want to give it to at least one of the bot duos, because you know they played really fantastically, winning out the lane and giving us an advantage to work with the other lanes much easier.
보기에도 확실히 바텀에서 좋은 모습 보여줬고 특히나 이번 서머 넘어오면서 삼성의 바텀이 굉장히 강해진 것 같아요.
And it seems like, you know, with the summer coming up, that you know we saw Samsung's bot lane growing very intensely.
받으셨는데 오늘 또
And you did get a solo MVP this time around, and you guys are looking good as a Samsung squad. Would you like to say something to the fans out here cheering for you guys right now?
네, 주말에 이렇게 귀한 시간.
Thank you so much for taking your precious time off the weekend to come and watch for us until this late hour.
상대 팀이든 우리 팀이든 다 응원해 주셔서.
And no matter, you know, whether it's for the opposition, but whether it's for us, but we all thank all the fans out here on the stadium to really cheering for both teams, and we really thank you for your support. And that seems to be the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, and it's great to hear that Crown had exactly the same opinion that you did, Papa Smithy.
If you can kill people, if you can be a nuker, be a nuker. You don't get that opportunity very often as the Karma, but I think his thought process was, well, I'm priced into it. I went from Relanomicon first. No one's going to be eating this damage, and no one could, and that's why Samsung Galaxy closed out the series after ROX Tigers did what's happened so many times this week, made us reevaluate who's good and who's not, and even with this graph or this table that we show you, it feels like still so much is in flux.
Yeah, we have no idea where everyone's going to sit by the end of the next few weeks. Of course, by about week 5, maybe we'll have some sort of an idea, but week 1 hasn't really taught us all that much.
I'm not even sure we'll know by the time we go into Rift Rivals, which is what, week 5, week 6, something like that?
Which is all the more exciting because who knows what is going to happen there. As look, our next matchup is going to be Ever 8 winners taking on MVP, and then BBQ Olivers against SK Telecom T1.
Interesting second match, seeing where SKT1 is at, given that now they've had a couple more of extra days to work out the kinks, because there seem to be quite a few of them bursting from the seams. You know, their match against Samsung was in no way the SKT that we saw a couple of weeks ago in Brazil, so a bit of time to review the VODs, get used to the patch. Will it just be the same SKT domination that we expect, or will it be something different? That's what we're going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah, who knows? And I'm actually more excited about the MVP versus Ever 8 winners series because Ever 8 actually looked pretty good against Longzhu the first time we saw them. So sorry, Afrika Freaks the first time we saw them. So excited to see what they can do. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it from us. 6 long games, but it was some exciting League of Legends. See you next week.